In this episode of Real Talk with White Bull, we're interviewing Jacob Dukes with Fairway Mortgage here in Jefferson, Georgia.
Can I be JD Vance?
You like him?
Dude, he's got a cool story. He's got a really cool story.
What's the story?
JD Vance? Yeah, I mean, he came from, he's not supposed to be where he's supposed to be. You know? To be the vice president candidate, that's huge.
And he's young too.
And he's young. He served in the military. Well, he's a Marine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was he Army?
Marine.
So do that. I mean, for Trump to pick you is kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And to accept is an even bigger deal.
Yeah.
But I would have gone, I really think Elon Musk, he needs to put those hat in the ring.
He's got so much going on.
I know. But look what the guy did with Twitter. He got rid of, 40 or 50% of the employees and made it way more efficient, and they're doing better.
All the bots, like fake accounts and all
Yep.
that stuff.
We'll see. We'll know next week.
What do you mean JD shouldn't be where he's at right now, though?
Well, I mean, he came from adversity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? He never had a silver spoon in his mouth. You know? He wasn't giving anything. Everybody said Trump was giving this and giving that. He wasn't. His father made him earn it. But JD didn't come from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had a lot of adversity in front of him. You know? Like me, I didn't have central heating and air until I was 17 years old.
On the podcast, he said that he actually appreciates that.
Oh, dude.
And
it molds you.
That's what makes them. And he said, he said on the podcast, if you have a PhD, I don't give a damn.
Right? It's true. I remember my parents were married. We had a nice, you know, your average middle class home. And then my mom split. My dad just got into this industry. He's a single dad trying to break in the mortgage industry with two small boys. And we moved into a 110-year-old farmhouse with no central heating and air, dryers on the front porch. Fucking broke. Like lights, phone got cut off, like every month. And then the good Lord just continued to bless. And I mean, when I was 17, that's the first time I had a freaking dishwasher, man. I was like, what is this shit? You know? But it builds your character.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's why I give my kids so much shit.
But like Trump, his kids always said that they always had to earn everything. Like then he would like pay them, and that way they could buy what they wanted. But he wouldn't like buy it for them.
Same thing, yeah. So I started washing dishes when I was 15 years old at a place called City Slickers in Conyers. And then I did that on the weekends, and during the week by the house I fried chicken wings at a wing hut. That was how I paid for all of my gas money and my clothes and all my stuff. And then when I got into this industry, everybody said, oh, because of your dad. I mean, when I called, we never really talked about it, but he said, I'm never going to give you a deal and I'm never going to give you a lead. You're going to swim on your own or you're going to drown on your own. What you do with it is up to you. Yes, sir. And he's never, 10 years later, or however long it's been, 9, not one deal. He meant it. He's that dude, you know? So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a fallback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife obviously doesn't work. And if she did, that would be catastrophic. You know, but all I know is to freaking grind. You know, nobody's gonna help my ass out. I don't have a backup plan B.
Nobody's coming to save you. You
Yep.
got to keep working. So that's how you got into the mortgage?
Yeah, so is back in the day when my dad got in the business, there was no cell phones. So it was a beeper. So growing up that way, when he made a phone call, there was no babysitters. You know, I couldn't be left at home by myself with my brother. So I listened to mortgage talk and acronyms and the lingo for, you know, 20 years. So it was just a natural progression where I just, through, I guess, osmosis, I understood everything. So when I decided to get in this, this line of work and help people, I already knew it. I went to the school. People say on their Facebook, graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. I freaking did. Like, I trained under a master for 20 years before I even went to college. And then I got out of school. I did something because I wanted to prove myself in the corporate world. I got tired of it. I wasn't helping anybody. I wasn't helping myself. And got to where there wasn't any sense of purpose every day. Every day was the same. Every day was the same. And I've been doing this for a long time now. And, you're in real estate. Mm-hmm. I've never had the same day twice. And that's what makes this fun and interesting. After, we finish up here today, I'll probably encounter a phone call or a text that just makes me scratch my head. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to get creative and I got to figure this out, because if I don't, this person is going to not be able to own a home. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal to me. I take it serious.
So you just find all kinds of stories and you try to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, for my job, nothing is cookie cutter. You always have to think outside the box. You have to figure out, okay, how do I structure this? What's the best thing that I can do for this family? And I tell everybody when I talk to them, all of my past customers will tell you that they probably all heard it. I'm going to do your loan like it's my own personal loan. I'm going to look at your file from 10,000 feet above, and what would Jacob do? And then I'm going to tell them that, say, hey, if I'm you, here's exactly what I would do. And if you want my advice, great, I will implement it. And if you don't want it, tell me to kick rocks, tell me to piss off. I don't want you in my business. I just want a mortgage. And I go, okay, cool, that's fine. But there's a lot of people where, for instance, for every $10,000 you adjust your loan amount, it only changes your payment like $55 a month. But if you get a car, that you still owe 10 grand on, your payment's $600. Most people don't know that. Hey, let's just use that money to pay that off. Mm-hmm. And those are huge wins for me. When people are like, I had no idea. Thank you so much. You just saved me $550 a month. That 10 grand was well spent over here.
So did you do your own loan for your first house, or?
No, I was not in the business yet. So actually, my father did that, and he had to co-sign because I was still in college. So shortly after I graduated, I started making money. We had to refinance when we got him off title, and it became just mine. Mm.
So do you help out a lot of immediate family also?
I try not to, because you know how business is with family. They think you're going to give them some special deal. We're so highly regulated. There's only so much we can do. Mm-hmm. And they think they're going to get the house and the car for free. And can't do it. Mm-hmm. Plus, typically, the people that come to you with family, they expect you to do all the work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you remember the first deal that you did on your own? And how did that go?
I do. That was probably 9-10 years ago. It was a USDA loan in Commerce. Guy had $0, but he had good credit. And we looked at it multiple different ways. We found that was going to be the best way for him to go by. He was going to keep his money in his pocket. We had the payment right where he wanted it. And we closed, and the guy was so happy that he teared up and gave me, a bro hug. That was really cool. And that's when I was like, wow, this is actually a rewarding job. This was my first loan that I've closed, and there's a reward here. Like, this guy, he'd been told no twice, but I was just getting the business. So I was asking all the referral sources, send me anything, just see if I can figure it out. Well, I had just beat out 2 other lenders that didn't give the guy the time of day. And this guy was so happy that he literally teared up and gave me a bro hug. And I was like, I have a sense of purpose here. This is amazing. So I'll never forget it.
I guess they just didn't want to do the work.
They didn't. They heard USDA, and they heard no money, and they didn't want to be bothered with it.
What's one of the biggest myths or that people believe about mortgages that makes you laugh?
Oh, that they had to put 20% down.
on any type of loan.
Yeah, on any type of loan when they absolutely do not have to. I would say that is my biggest myth, and the biggest myth, unpopular opinion. And you probably run to it in real estate. Another myth that really drives me nuts about mortgages is when that uncle or dad tells them mortgage advice. Those are the biggest myths because they're all myths.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody did that buy the house, date the rate.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. That was a cool slogan for about a week, but it got ran to the ground pretty bad. So those little myths of, the people that are not in this industry, if they're not a licensed loan originator, that's what they are. They're myths.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to talk to somebody like me or somebody in the industry that are very knowledgeable to lead you down that right path.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not believing the myths.
Yeah.
Because you can get away with as little as 3% down, not 20, or you can get a 0% down if we really need to.
Oh, yeah. So if you weren't doing, I guess, in the mortgage industry, what would you see yourself doing?
Oh, dude, I'd be a farmer all day long. I would ride a tractor. That's what I'd love to do in my downtime. I love equipment. I would absolutely be a farmer.
Any other hobbies you do outside of?
Yeah, I'm going to give the cliche, I love to spend time with my family, and I do. But my family and wife and I have been together 24 years, so we do everything together. We're best friends. 2 kids, 10 and 5. We do everything together. We love the outdoors. We love to hunt. We camp. I love to ride Harleys. That's a passion of mine. Recently started flying airplanes, trying to get my pilot's license. So anything that has a motor and buttons is kind of my passion. I like to go fast and keep my brain sharp.
Oh yeah, what kind of motorcycle you have?
Harley Davidson Road Glide and Harley Davidson Deuce. They're my babies.
And does your wife?
She used to ride, but since we had the kids, she said it's one of us needs to stay on the ground at all times. So we let her do that. Yeah, anything outside, man, that's where you'll find us.
I guess what gets you excited to do this type of job every day?
What gets me excited? I think I'm going to probably have to say going back to you never know what you're going to encounter. Every day is different. And if I get slow at work, I'm going to go, you know what? I think I'm going to check out at 3:00 today. I mean, every time I do that, it's like the proverbial mortgage god stepping in and go, oh, no, you're not. You're going to be here till 6. So I think that's what gets me excited is the unknown. Mm-hmm. Like yesterday, I had no idea that we were meeting and doing this today until yesterday afternoon. That it sprung up, and that's what it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me going. So that's what makes me excited.
So how do you handle the, I guess, work-life balance?
I've learned over the years that it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. I get up, I do the best that I can every day. I give it, 100%. I give everybody the time that they deserve and they've earned. And I've gotten over the last 5 years after COVID, my laptop stays here now, weeknights. I take it home on Friday, but I've learned that Friday is family time. I'll work remotely. I'll have my computer, but during the week, we put the kids to bed at 8:30, right? So if I get home at say 5:30, that gives me 3 hours with my family. I do this to support my family and to provide for my family, and 3 hours just isn't enough. And that's their time. Mm-hmm. That's our time to sit down and read stories, go outside, ride bikes, the scooters, 4-wheelers, whatever they want to do. And I don't want that computer to be a distraction. So that work-life balance is, I had a mortgage coach a while back, and he told me that if you don't have that, you don't have anything. So without my family, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing it. So they need to get the attention that they deserve.
So do your kids ride? Are they interested in motorcycles?
Oh yeah, man. My daughter's ridden with me on motorcycles. But the kids, they have their own 4-wheelers and they have their trails. They race. My son River, he actually flipped his Sunday. Flipped on his side for the first time. It scared him, but he had on his helmet. And, I just looked back at him and wanted to cry, but he didn't. I'm not going to run over and go, "Oh, are you okay, my baby?" Like his mom would, and she's a mom. Yeah. But I'm trying to raise a man. Mm-hmm. I want him tough. I made him finish the trail. I flipped his four-wheeler back over. I dusted him off. I said, "Is it moving?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Move it for me." He moved his arm. I said, "You're fine. Get back on your four-wheeler. Let's keep going." And he did. And by the time we got back to the house, I said, "You okay?" He goes, "What do you mean am I okay?"
Forgot all about it.
So, yeah. Try to raise him tough.
Oh, yeah. Did your daughter like to ride too?
Oh, yeah. She was right there. She's the one that made him wreck, actually. She cut him off, and he had to swerve, and he hit a dip, and it flung him. So, she learned a lesson too. That's why I sat him down. I said, "Life lessons right here." I said, "Meadow," she's my 10-year-old little girl. I said, "This is why Daddy makes you wear a helmet every time, whether you're riding in the front yard or you're doing a long ride on the trails. We always wear a helmet." Life lesson right here. I took River, this is why we wear helmets, and this is why we don't go fast. This is why you pay attention. Yes, sir. They understood. I hand out life lessons daily to the kiddos.
Yeah, you have to nowadays.
Yep, make them tough.
Oh, yeah. Is there a success story that you're proud of that just make you smile whenever you think about it, or it pops up to your mind?
For work?
For work or personal also?
Yeah, for work, I'm trying to think of the most recent. About 3, actually we closed her file yesterday over in Houston. I'm a preferred lender in that community, and she had previously talked to, I won't name any names, but it's a very large online internet lender. And her money was kind of tight, and payment mattered to her. That particular lending institution, was charging her over $15,000 in buy down points to get a particular interest rate for no reason. And she wasn't going to be able to get the house because she didn't have enough money. And I was able to structure the deal and find a way to get that payment exactly where she wanted. We said her $15,000, and she was like tearing up. She's like, "That $15,000 now I can go put the fence in for my dogs and my kids in the backyard, and I can get new bedroom suites for the kids in their bedroom." She's a single mom. It's huge. So that was a pretty good win for most recently.
What about in his personal life?
Oh man, biggest win. I'm going to have to say is actually what we talked about a second ago, when I realized the importance of work-life balance. I was a pretty crummy dad and husband during COVID because I was so focused on work, because we were trying to help as many families as we could to get a lower interest rate and help that monthly payment. And I kind of lost sight of why I was doing it. And that hurt my heart when I figured it out. I'd come home, and instead of my kids running up and going, "Daddy, Daddy," which is why you go home, right? Mm-hmm. I was getting a, "Hey, Dad." And when I figured that out, that's when I started leaving that computer at the office every day. Mm-hmm. So when I go home, I go from Mortgage Jacob to Dad. And I just hope people understand that, that's important, and that I have to be a dad first. Mm-hmm. But that's the biggest win, is I think when I realized that personally, that what matters the most. And that's what absolutely matters the most.
Mm-hmm. So were you born in Georgia?
Mm-hmm. Born in Georgia, actually outside of Atlanta, when you could drive through there, and not worry about getting in a wreck or sitting in traffic for 5 hours. Yeah. Grew up over there towards downtown Atlanta, moved out to Henry County, Ellenwood area, then moved out to Conyers when it was like Jefferson is now. When it got too busy, I went down to South Georgia, Valsa State University, and went to school. Stayed there for a while, and then we started having babies. Moved up here to Jefferson.
So how long you been in Jefferson?
About a little over 10 years now. Restarted everything. Never even heard of it. And I grew up an hour from here. And that's how small Jefferson was then. But we started having kids. Needed family help. And good Lord blessed us and found the house that we're in, and we've been there ever since. So I had to come up here, restart life, restart career, restart business and everything. But man, it's been fantastic.
Have you been with Fairway the whole time?
Mm-hmm. Been with Fairway the whole time.
And in this building?
No, this is actually, I was up the road. I mean, you can almost see it. It was the only place to rent when I opened up the office here. in Jefferson. And it worked for a while, but it got to where there was a lot of foot traffic that was coming in and out of the parking lot from surrounding businesses, and it was time to go. So I was lucky to find this place, and I've been here ever since. I've probably been in this building 6 years now.
It's an old building, isn't it?
Yep, I think it's 1904. I think it's the second oldest building recorded in the city of Jefferson.
Oh, man.
So there's probably, I've heard some weird noises after hours. I think next door, I think I was telling you earlier, there was that was the parlor in the living area, and I think that's where they would put the sick, and some people pretty sure didn't make it. Yeah, so sometimes you'll hear the toilet kick on, and you'll hear some creaks. It's a little creepy, but I don't believe in ghosts, but also I believe that my ears do work, and I've heard some shit. So it's kind of creepy. So sometimes I'm like, all right, well, that's the sign that I just need to go home. So I'll log off and I'm out of here.
Coming home, baby.
Yep, coming home.
So if you would go back to your own first home buying experience, would you have changed anything or giving yourself any advice?
No, I actually did it perfect. Thank God, because I had the guidance. My dad was in this business, and he was, always preached equity. I remember my first house was $95,500 purchase price, and the seller paid all the closing. My payment was $800 a month with taxes and insurance, and I was like, "How in the world am I going to make this payment?" And I did. I was still in college, but my dad helped me a little bit while I was in school, and then when I got out, I had a roommate, which helped a little bit. But back then, $800 was a chunk.
Mm-hmm. Charge like what, $150 for the roommate?
Yes, but it's always buy the property. Always buy the house. I'm so glad that I did, because you learn so much from owning a home that it teaches you a responsibility that most people don't get renting a house. Because if something breaks, you just don't deal with it. Mm-hmm. When you own a house and something breaks, you're forced to deal with it. So I'm really glad that I bought my first place. Mm-hmm. It was an easy experience.
Oh yeah,
because my dad did the loans. He coached me pretty well.
Oh yeah, so he was, I guess, your mentor.
Yep,
mortgage
mentor, my sensei, however you want to say it. Yeah, he taught me everything.
And y'all grew up, I guess, there also with your dad
around the Conyers area. But man, that place has changed so much. Atlanta's just kind of moved out, and the same thing's happening in Jefferson. Jefferson 10 years ago when we got here, man, it was the Kroger had just been built, and now we have a Kroger, a Publix, and an Aldi, and then a Bell's, and heck, you can't even get a 129.
No.
That place is dangerous now. When Alexis, my wife, she's totaled 2 cars already on 129. And wrecked another one in the Kroger parking lot. That's 3 over there. Then she hit a deer in the driveway. Then she hit somebody else. Yeah, so if you see her on the road, just pull over. It's not worth it. Don't wave, just kind of look down at the curb, pull over to the shoulder. So I told all my friends and family, I'm just going to put like a big yellow balloon on top of her car.
Let everybody know.
This is her. She's coming. Just let her go by, man. It's not worth it.
Man. Where'd y'all meet at?
Oh, man. So we've been together 24 years. I'm obviously from here, and she's from West Texas. We met in Cancun, Mexico on a bus. So I was at Senor Frog's. All my friends left me, and I was having a really good time. And they left me anyway. There was one bus back to the resorts late that night, and there was one seat left on that bus. And that's where I sat. And right in front of me was my wife. We were both 18 on senior trip in Cancun, and I had just enough courage to talk to her, and I could not believe that she talked to me back, because I way out punted my coverage. And we stayed in touch. We did the calling cards, the 100 collect. I'd work, those those side jobs where I'd wash dishes or whatever to pay for calling cards, and I'd mail them to her. We didn't have cell phones then. That was back in 2000. So we kept in touch, and then finally we just decided it was time to be together. We got married and we have 2 beautiful kids. Been together 24 years.
So,
I don't deserve her. She's more than I deserve.
yeah. So do you believe in fate, or just
Absolutely.
taking chances?
Oh man, absolutely. If I wouldn't have taken the chance and talked to her, look what I've missed out on. How much happiness and 2 beautiful, healthy kids, I've been blessed with. And I wouldn't have that without her. I always tell her, I'd probably be face down in a ditch somewhere if it wasn't for her. As a good woman's going to push you
Mm-hmm.
to make you be a better man and a better father and a better provider. And without having that perfect person to push you, looking over your shoulder to make sure she's proud, you can't. It's hard to succeed without having that good queen in your corner, right?
So she motivates you and
Oh God, yeah,
helps
man.
you and everything.
She calls me out if I if I get my ass on my shoulders or I get down about myself. She go, I didn't marry a wuss. Get after it. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. I get back after it. Yeah, she calls me out, man. She's a spitfire, but I appreciate it.
That's good. Guess your dad likes her, huh?
Oh yeah, well, she's a really good cook, and she spoils him too. Like we just had his birthday. She took him. She always gets really good gifts. She takes care of him, so yeah, he loves her.
So is your dad still in the mortgage business?
Yep. Yeah, we're trying to put him to pasture a little bit. He turned 65. Actually, today's his birthday. 65 today. Happy birthday, Dad. You watch this. We're trying to he'll never get out because he believes if you stop working, you kick the can early. You got to have something to live and work for. So he's still highly involved, but we're trying to get him to relinquish a little bit of control here and there. But yeah, he's still working.
That's good. What's in the future for you? What do you see you going? Your dreams?
For work, I would love. Oh man, that's such a loaded question for me to answer because my brain goes to 3 different things. I want to continue doing this, but I want to do it at a different scale. This is going to sound really bad to say, depending on who listens and watches this. I really want to scale my business to, and it sounds so cliche to say help people, but I hear so many myths that you asked about earlier, and so misrepresentations about particular mortgage companies, and some of them aren't truly there to help and to serve. You can see like we have our 10 core values in the wall, and we live by those, by humility, family, faith, and speed to respond. And it's all about taking care of that customer, and we still believe that. We're the largest national retail independent lender out there, but we still make sure that we have that hometown feel. Like when you call me, you don't get an assistant, you get Jacob, and I take pride in that. So the myths and the online stuff, I want people to get away from that and do business with local. Those big institutions, they're not sponsoring local T-ball T-shirts and hot dog stands and lemonade stands. I love the grassroots stuff that we've talked about. You don't get that. I love being part of this community, and I have friends all over the place here because I get involved. So that's where I would like to go in the future with work, is be able to realize that people need to be helped, and they need the knowledge that I have about buying a house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't want them to get wrapped up in just clicking buttons online and they get screwed. Like the lady I helped the other day, saved her $15,000. Man, that's huge. And as far as where I want to go personally, man, I love where I'm at. I don't think I'd change a thing. And I hope life just keeps going and evolving the way that it is right now at a slower pace, because these kids, they get way too fast. So I don't know if those are the answers that you're looking for, but hopefully that'll help.
No. The answers you want to give. Is there any personal goals that you're working towards?
Personal goals. Like I said, I'm trying to, get my pilot's license. So that's a goal of mine. there's been a lot of highs and lows. Can I do this? Is this safe? You know, I already ride motorcycles and I'm a big outdoorsman. Is this a wise decision? But when I start something, I finish it. I make myself finish it. Because if I don't, what am I telling myself? You know, so that's a goal for right now is to finish up this piece, and whether I use it or not is great, but I can at least say that I did it. And that's my goal right now is to finish that up.
I guess for your kids to see it too.
Yep. I want them to know, you know, that when Dad said he's going to do it, he did it.
Well, that's good. Well, I guess where can you tell people to find you at?
Yep. You can give me a shout. My cell phone's 404-969-7442, or my website is jacobdukesfairway.com. Or you can call, text, send smoke signal, whatever. I'm happy to help.
All right. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.